Thank you, Professor Chu. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Professor Chu, for the introduction, and it's a great honor to be here to share some research we have done about transportation electrification. And it's very nice to meet Professor Chu again online. As mentioned by Professor Chu, he guided me a lot when he was in Sweden and working at Chalmers. So, as mentioned by Professor Chu, I'm Kun Gao, and now I'm working in the Department of Architecture and Civil Engineering at Chalmers University of Technology in Sweden. And today, the presentation I would like to share is about integrated optimization of charging infrastructure, electric bus scheduling, and the energy system. So, I will share two connected research in the same topic. And the research was done by myself and also my colleague Aslan Xiaohe and Hongka, as I list here. So now let us get into the general background. I think it's widely known that transportation electrification is an ongoing trend and is being promoted by almost all the countries around the world, especially in China and in Europe, because of the benefit of the electrification to reduce the emission and also improve the energy efficiency. But for USA, we never know. You never know with Trump, right? So as we all know, that transportation electrification has very much benefits, but at the same time, it's also introduced challenges to the transportation system. So for the public transit, so we need to provide the charging infrastructure and energy supply to charge the bus if we like to change the traditional bus into electric. At the same time, because of the charging needs, so the charging time is commonly longer than the refuel time if you compare to refuel at the gas station in the conventional bus. So because of the charging time, we need to re-optimize the operation scheduling of the bus system to accommodate the charging needs. Another need is that the electricity supply to the electric bus, if we would like to change, a very large percentage of bus to be electric, and also the potential impacts because of the additional charging demand, electricity demand from the electric bus. So the last issue might be more significant in some old city, especially in Europe. In a lot of old city, the power system was planned in long time ago, and in that time, the additional electricity usage demand was not really considered in the capacity planning of the power system, like power distribution network. So for this research, we are trying to develop an approach to integrate the electric bus scheduling, charging infrastructure provision with consideration of the energy supply and the constraints from the existing power distribution network. And to satisfy the energy supply, we propose to integrate the renewable energy as a supplementary resource to complement potential shortage in the energy supply from the existing power system. So the objective of the research, we are trying to do the joint planning of the charging infrastructure and also optimize the charging scheduling of the electric bus, considering the constraints from the power distribution network. At the same time, we integrate the renewable energy photovoltaic with battery storage to complement the energy supply to reduce the potential negative impacts of the additional charging demand from electric bus on the power distribution network. To solve the problem, we use Bender's decomposition methods to do the linearization and also reduce the computation burden so we can solve the optimization problem. So what we are trying to optimize, so as shown by the left figure, so we have the electric bus. And we have the station and the depot where we can install the charging infrastructure. And we have the timetable of the bus system that we need to satisfy. At the same time, we consider the power distribution network. So the power distribution network is coupled with the charging point at each charging station. So if the bus is charged at one point, and then it will add the demand to the power distribution, and it will affect the status of the power distribution network. So what we are trying to optimize is the required number of buses to support the timetable of the bus system, and the charging scheduling optimization to satisfy the trips for the timetable, and the required minimal number of chargers to support the charging needs from the electric bus system, and also the energy supply to satisfy the charging demand in the charging point with renewable energy. So, as I mentioned before, there is a potential issue in some vulnerable nodes of power distribution network. So we propose to integrate renewable energy, photovoltaic with battery storage to complement potential shortage of energy supply from the power distribution network. So this is our optimization model framework. So in the objective function, we consider in the infrastructure cost, including the cost to buy the electric bus, and the cost of installing charger, and also the cost of installing the renewable energy with battery storage. For the operating cost, we consider in the cost of buying electricity to satisfy the charging demand. And to solve the problem, we use vendor decomposition methods. So basically, we divide the problem into the master problem and the sub problem. And the master problem is the operational optimization about when and where, how the bus should be charged. And the sub problem is the infrastructure optimization in terms of where and how much infrastructure you should put in each charging point. So we take a case study in one small city, Hovot, in Sweden, and we get the three bus routes in the city and the timetable. And for the power distribution network, it is really hard to get the real power distribution network because it's a little bit confidential. It is related to the security issue. So we use a IEEE standard power distribution network for the research purpose, as you can see here. So for the three routes, we have 833 trips that we need to satisfy. And because we consider the renewable energy photovoltaic as a potential complementary energy supply source, so we estimate the electricity can be generated by PV based on the solar radiation data from Sweden. And when we optimize the operation and to reduce the operation cost in terms of the electricity cost, we also consider the time of use price of electricity as shown by the red curve here. And we also consider the electricity demand from other sectors because the electricity demand on the power distribution network is not only from the transport, but also from the industrial and the industrial and residential sectors, and etc. So we take the historical data from Sweden for this city, as shown by the blue curve here. This is the electricity demand on power distribution network from other sectors except the transport. So we also consider this. So after optimization, and the outcome will be the first output will be the charging scheduling for each bus. So for example, here the left top figure shows that two bus, how the bus is discharged and charged. For example, as shown by the red curve, so the bus run 2 trips and then charged, so the SOC increased. And at the same time, we get the results about which bus should run which trip for which route, as shown by the red figure. For example, the bus 2 was running for the trip in route 2, but after this trip, the bus 2 run the trip for route 3. So that is more about operation optimization results. So the left bottom figure shows the SOC and energy when the bus finish the trips in 1 day and get back to depot. And the red bar shows the green bar shows the SOC when the bus arrived at the depot after all the trips of that day. And the red bar shows the energy received, the charged energy received at the depot for each bus. So this 2 figures shows how the energy supply to satisfy the charging demand for the electric bus. So the left figure shows the charging demand from the electric bus in the 24 hours of the day, and the below figure shows the energy supply from the battery storage. So the battery storage can receive the energy from the renewable energy. At the same time, it can receive the energy from the power grid. So how does it work? Is that, as you can see, that the battery is charged during the night, because the time of use electricity price is very low during the night in Sweden. So during the night, the battery storage is charged, and then it's used to charge the bus during the daytime. So make the best of the difference in the electricity, make the best of the time of use electricity price, so we can reduce the operation cost for the electric bus. And the right figure shows the battery storage charging and the discharging profile. So the as you can see from the green bar, so the battery storage are charged by the renewable energy during the daytime, because we have the solar radiation during the daytime. But at the same time, the battery storage was discharging to charge the bus in different time of the day. So the energy supply to the electric bus system are from the renewable energy and the battery storage, and the energy from the battery storage could from renewable energy if the solar radiation is very high, so you can store some energy from renewable energy. At the same time, the battery storage will make the best of difference in the time of use electricity price to reduce the operation cost for the electric bus. And another interesting finding we have is that we consider the impacts of the charging demand from the electric bus on power distribution network. So in some vulnerable nodes, if there is without renewable energy, as shown by the blue curve, so the high charging demand in some peak hours in the charging point will result in the violation of voltage drop in the power distribution network, as shown by the blue curve. So the red line is the threshold, the lower bound of the voltage in the power distribution network. So if without renewable energy, high charging demand in short time, we will violate the voltage constraints of power distribution network. However, in the scenario with renewable energy, because renewable energy could be a complementary energy supply to the electric bus system, so we can satisfy the charging demand, but at the same time to ensure it will not violate the voltage constraints of the power distribution network. The right figure shows the final optimization results in terms of how many charger and how many renewable energy, photovoltaic, and battery storage we should install in the candidate charging point. So if I summarize it, it is that this research trying to optimize the charging infrastructure and the charging scheduling optimization for electric bus. And we integrate the renewable energy with battery storage as a complementary energy supply to the electric bus to reduce the operation cost, at the same time to avoid the potential violation of voltage in power distribution because of the high charging demand in short time periods. So this research is the methodology and the research contents can also be extended to other transport modes like freight transport because of the violation issues of charging demand to power distribution network are mainly because of very high charging demand in short period. So for freight transport, so because of the high battery capacity of the electric truck, so you really need to provide very high capacity, very high charging capacity, and then it may result in issues for the power distribution network. So this work can also extend to freight transport. So this is connected research. Is more like a continuous research of the research I just introduced. So this research going a little bit further to share the charging station of the public transit to share the micro-community. So in this research, we are trying to optimize the shared bus charging infrastructure and the scheduling optimization, considering the renewable energy, photovoltaic, and also considering the sharing scheme to share the public transit charging station to share the micro-community. So the background is that when we do the first research, and we realize that, okay, the charging demand from electric bus might result in the violation of the voltage violation in the power distribution network. So we continue to use the renewable energy as a supplementary energy supply to the electric bus. At the same time, we realize that even that we try to optimize the charging scheduling for electric bus to make the best of the charging infrastructure, but there is still some time window that the charging station in the charging point for bus are not fully utilized. So we are trying to seek why not to better utilize the available time window for charging into sharing the charging station of electric bus to share the micro-community. It can help to solve the shared micro-community like a scooter sharing charging problem. So the current situation in Gothenburg, the city I'm in, is that there are very limited warehouse to charge the batteries of the e-scooter sharing. So the operator of the scooter sharing, they have to pick up the battery from the scooter and then go back to the warehouse to charge the battery and then send out the battery to replace the no SOC battery of the scooters. And it's generally resulting in very long detour because there are very limited number of warehouse for charging for a scooter sharing system. So why not trying to use the available time window in the electric bus charging point to charge the battery for a scooter sharing systems? So trying to make the best of the charging infrastructure for electric bus. So yeah, and the research aim, so we are trying to make the best of renewable energy as a supplementary energy supply to the electric bus system. At the same time, of course, we also optimize the charging infrastructure and the charging scheduling for the bus. But at the same time, we are trying to share the charging point from electric bus to share the scooter system so that the scooter sharing system operator can reduce the battery swapping and charging cost. So this will be involve the infrastructure decision for the electric bus in terms of number of charger and the capacity of charger, and also the required PV voltaic panels in each charging point. And for operation of the electric bus, we need to optimize the charging scheduling. For the shared micromobility operator, the scooter sharing operator, they need to decide how to, when and where to charge the batteries of the scooter sharing, making the best of available time window in the charging point for ElectricBus. And one research challenge here is that there is a conflict between the public transit and the shared micromobility operator. So here shows an example is that for the scooter sharing operator, of course, they would like to charge the battery in the nearby charging bus charging hubs. However, if in the nearby charging hubs there is no photovoltaic, that means that there is no additional energy supply because of the photovoltaic in the bus charging point. It will need the electricity from the power grid. So for the that is not that will not result in benefit for the public transit operator, but instead is that the public transit operator, they hope the shared scooter operator they can charge the battery in the charging point with renewable energy, because the available time window from the bus charging point, they still have the electricity from PV. So the public transit operator can share the electricity from PV to the shared micromobility operator when the bus system doesn't need the electricity from the PV. So the shared scooter company would like to charge nearby, but the public transit operator would like the shared micromobility operator to charge in the station with solar PV. So there is a potential conflict there. So to solve this research challenge, we propose a optimization framework and B-level mixed integer and linear model. So formulate it as a neither and follow problem. So the neither problem is that the public transit operator to optimize the charging infrastructure, the photovoltaic infrastructure, and the charging scheduling for the electric bus operation. At the same time, it provides the available charging windows to the shared micromobility operator to give this available time window for the shared scooter operator to charge the battery there. But the optimization from the shared micromobility operator perspective will follow the decision from the public transit operator. And for the optimization, we consider different seasons, and because it will affect the charging demand from the scooter sharing system, and we also consider the charging demand variation in different day and different hours of a day. So this is a summary of the problem framework I just mentioned. And we use a solution approach called value function-based exact algorithm. So because we're trying to solve the problem for the case study in the whole Gothenburg, and then it will be pretty computation intensive. So to improve the computation efficiency, we propose a cutting methods to reduce the optimal solution searching space. We call it super valid inequity, but because of time, I will not go to details. And the aim of this strategy is trying to cut down the optimal solution searching space so we can reach more fast convergence to get the solution. So now if we look, we do the case study for whole Gothenburg with 70 bus routes and 61 bus terminals. And we have the data about scooter sharing in Gothenburg so that we can get the charging demand in different hours of the day and in different day of the week and in different seasons. We also consider the time of use electricity price when we do the optimization. And we divide the Gothenburg area into lighting e-scooter zones. So the zone is more about to gather the charging demand from e-scooter. So, yeah. And now if we look into the results, is that the right column shows the baseline scenario is that we do not install solar PV and we do not implement the sharing scheme to the scooter sharing company. That is the infrastructure cost, operation cost for the bus bus operator. Yeah, and after we install the solar PV, as you can see, it can reduce the overall cost for public transit operator by 10%. And if we include both solar PV and the sharing scheme to the scooter sharing operator, it can result in it reduce the cost, or you can call it profitability by 20%. And what is the benefit for the shared micromobility operator? So if we do not have the sharing scheme from the public transit operator, this is the operation cost for the scooter operator to charge the batteries. And if we have the sharing scheme from the public transit operator, it can reduce 54% of the operation cost for the scooter sharing operators. And this is trying to show the benefit from installing PV. So I will take the first figure as an example. So the red line shows the demand that we request from the power grid to satisfy the demand from both public transit and the shared scooter. And the green line shows the electricity supply request from the power grid when we have the PV. As you can see, installing PV will reduce the demand and electricity demand request from power distribution, and then it can reduce the burden of the demand to power distribution network, which is expected because the PV can provide some additional energy supply. And we're also trying to analyze that what is the benefit in terms of emission, and considering the greenhouse gas emission factors from the electricity generation in Europe. So the results show that if we install PV, because some electricity will come from the solar radiation, it can reduce the emission by 3%. And if we enable sharing and the solar PV at the same time, so the emission impact will be very similar. So it will be also around 3%. So if I summarize it, and we are trying to implement the PV integration to provide additional energy for the electric public transit and electric shared scooter. And we implement the sharing scheme of the public transit charging point to the scooter sharing to reduce the operation cost. And we do the optimization and do the evaluation in terms of economic and the emission benefits by the proposed optimization strategies. Yep, thank you so much. And that is my presentation, and any question or comments will be welcome.